The woman in front of her hasn't had meat in a month. Today, she happened to walk by the river. To her surprise, the water was overflowing with crayfish. She happily scooped the crayfish into a bucket. Unexpectedly, the others in the village only mentioned the river water and then left. The woman immediately realized, in this old era, crayfish were still considered a forbidden food. That's right, the woman actually traveled back from the future. After her accidental death in 2025, she suddenly traveled back to a rural village in the 1980s, and the way she traveled was truly horrifying. The woman came back to life directly from the body of a dead person. As soon as she sat up, everyone around her was as if they had seen a ghost. The dead woman's husband thought his wife had come back to life, so he took the woman back home. It was then that the woman learned the truth about the wife's death. It turned out that the husband's wife had a lover outside. Once, while they were having an affair in the mountains, they were accidentally caught by someone. The lover panicked and ran away alone. The wife, however, accidentally died during the escape. Though the husband was angry at his wife's betrayal, he still kindly held a funeral for her. Little did he know, his wife had never died. He brought his wife back home again. His goal was to ask her for a divorce. Unbeknownst to him, his wife was long gone. At that moment, the woman standing in front of him was from 2025. The woman immediately rejected the divorce request. She had just traveled back in time. She hadn't yet gathered enough information and knowledge. If she got a divorce now, she might end up as a homeless person and die from hunger on the streets. The husband, besides having a mother, also had two younger brothers. They were all furious at the wife's infidelity. They wanted to drag the woman away, but the woman wasn't someone to mess with. She loudly protested to everyone. Since there was no divorce certificate, she wasn't going anywhere. By evening, the woman cooked a meal for the husband's family herself. Everyone immediately exchanged glances. They seemed surprised by the woman's change. But just then, the voice of the lover suddenly came from outside. The woman wasn't afraid at all. On the contrary, she was thankful for how quickly the lover had arrived. It was just the right timing to get rid of the trouble. As soon as the lover saw the woman come out, he immediately went to kiss her. To his surprise, the woman rejected him directly. She told the lover to stay far away from her in the future. From now on, they had nothing to do with each other. The lover frowned. Though he had abandoned the woman in the mountains, the woman had clearly been obsessed with him. He thought he could easily coax her into forgiving him. But why was she so smart today? The woman was very disdainful. She swiftly knocked the lover to the ground. The lover was furious. He raised his hand to retaliate, but he was immediately stopped by the husband, who had appeared out of nowhere. The husband harshly scolded the lover for being shameless. He ordered him to get out immediately. The lover wasn't afraid at all. He arrogantly stated that the wife had also cheated. The man, however, was very calm. As long as the woman was under his roof, he would not let her be bullied. Her eyes immediately lit up. She instantly fell in love with the husband, but the lover wasn't willing to give up. He suddenly grabbed the woman, trying to force a kiss on her. Unexpectedly, the woman knocked the lover to the ground. She mocked him for having such a poor memory. She had just beaten him a moment ago. How dare he try again now? The lover realized he was no match for her, so he left in a hurry, embarrassed. The next day, the woman was chopping vegetables and cooking in the yard. She accidentally saw the husband changing clothes. She couldn't help but feel puzzled. The husband was handsome and responsible. Why would the original wife like the ugly and timid lover? Just then, a neighbor suddenly barged into the house. It turned out that the husband's younger brother was being bullied by thugs. As soon as the husband heard this, he panicked. He rushed to save his brother, but the woman stopped him. Today, the husband had to go to work. If he was late, he'd have his salary docked. She volunteered to go and save the brother. The husband's gaze was filled with doubt, but the woman confidently said to leave it to her. Meanwhile, on the other side, the brother was simply sitting under a tree reading, but a few thugs kept harassing him. When the woman arrived, she immediately knocked those thugs over. The brother quickly hid behind the woman. He tearfully complained to the man. One of the thugs recognized the woman's identity. He lewdly mocked her as an adulteress. The woman slapped the thug across the face. She scolded him for his lack of upbringing. The other thugs rushed to help him, but they were quickly defeated by the woman. The thugs instantly became docile. They quickly knelt down and begged the woman for forgiveness. The woman wasn't easily satisfied. She immediately decided to take the thugs to the police station. The thugs nearly cried out. In that era, being sent to prison would mean getting beaten to death. The woman achieved her goal of intimidation. She then gently expressed she could let them off without going going to the police station. But the condition was that these thugs promise not to bully the weak again and write a letter of guarantee. The thugs immediately agreed. They knelt down and finished writing the letter. They then nervously handed it to the woman. The woman turned to look at the brother. She asked if he was willing to forgive them. Although the brother wasn't good at fighting, he was still quite smart. He temporarily forgave the thugs, but if they dared to bully him again, he would immediately call the woman. The thugs immediately shook their heads, saying they wouldn't dare. Then, they hurriedly ran off. At this point, the woman didn't know yet. Her era had already arrived.